If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord. All kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. And Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed.
And a child shall lead them.
Child shall lead them.
All right, you guys, last song on our transatlantic.
The interplay between Amy Lee and that guy was very funny.
Oh, God. I can only imagine.
She's too fast. She's too fast.
Yep.
Her mind is like, phew, phew.
All right, last song on this stream. This one was chosen by Northern Scoundrel.
Another Northern Scoundrel pick.
Yep.
Okay.
And this one is And So We Age by Brymir.
Brymir, And So We Age.
That's what I was thinking when I was slipping all over the ice today. And so I age.
And let's do it.
Look at that album cover, too.
Wow.
Beautiful.
damn it. That's it.
Now, why wasn't this one 15 minutes? I really, really like this song.
Somebody practice
Wow.
their scales.
It's so funny. Amy, I thought the same thing. I was like, you know what? Now, this type of vocal style, I don't have a problem with.
Well, because it was more on the clean side.
Yeah. Keep it clean, folks. Keep it clean.
Archero says, Brymir for me comes off as too sugary in the way they use synths, even though as a general rule I could do
What?
some
This
synth
band?
in my metal. A little sugary.
No, I like the sugar. Give me the sugar.
It was a little sugary. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't feel like it was too sugary. I liked it.
Yeah, but you're
Stop right there. I'm going to stop you right there. What are you waiting for when day by day your face in the mirror just withers and decays? You know you've lost your way. The same old sun burns your blinding eyes as your regrets poison your frail and bleeding soul. Make me whole.
What?
Just the concept of regrets and then how he just used it, but then he does that cry out to make me whole. And so we age, waiting for our fate, so weak, so numb, sick of the endless fight. Yet all of the fables of man must end in triumph. Okay, so you know the idea that you start out young and you age for a short span of time and then you hit your, I'm going to say your peak is in like your early 20s. So you hit that point and then it's downhill. You know what I mean? Like each year it's a little bit more work to do the things that you did before. And I think it takes more like internal motivation to do things that used to be so simple. I'm not speaking for you because babe, you are a little bit like an android. I'm not gonna lie. The kind of stuff that you do, I'll be sleeping in the middle of the night. I wake up and this guy's planking for like 6 hours. So you just can't use yourself.
6 hours.
Okay, it's still a lot.
It's 5 minutes, not 6 hours.
5 minutes of a plank is a long time. Try it. Look up planking and try to do a 5-minute plank. It's a long time. Ridiculous. So anyway, like you're aging, and I think about how there are certain the ego, you know, we listen to it a lot. That guy talks about the ego a lot. The ego within someone, it's not just your self-recognition, but it's your self-exaltation. And sometimes we exalt ourselves higher than we really are, and we believe ourselves to be bigger and better than other people rather than realizing that we're all human beings on the same planet. And some of us were given certain things that give us advantage over other people, and some people use those advantages against other people, and they don't care how many people they slash and burn on their way to the top because that's what they're doing. But there's something about aging that forces you to face humility, because if you're a pompous person, your body is going to start breaking down. Your mind isn't going to be as quick. You're not going to know the things you used to know. You're not up with the times as much as you used to be. And you know how young people are? They look at you like you're dumb. You know, you talk about something. Sometimes the kids say stuff to me and they're completely wrong. And they'll say something to me with so much arrogance. I'm looking at them and I'm like, this person, they're completely wrong. This is hilarious. But like, as you age and you are forced to slow down, I guess, and look at things, you see things differently. So when he's saying like, as we age, waiting for our fate, so weak, so numb, sick of the endless fight, and yet all the fables of man must end in triumph. I don't know, I kind of liked it. And it was talking about as your regrets poison your frail and bleeding soul. If there is not purpose behind the things that you regret, if you don't believe there to be any purpose behind it, then I can see how, like, some of my regrets, they're I guess they're comforted by the fact that I saw good come from a lot of those things that seemed like, 10 years ago, I would have said, well, that's just a massive regret with nothing that I can look to for any substance. But I think that's another thing that the aging mind can see. Growth and the value of experience, where when you're young, you just think you know everything.
Yeah.
Go ahead, babe. Debunk it.
I wasn't debunking it. I can't debunk your experience.
I know, but you always you'll come out with like this thing where it's like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. That was actually like, anyway, carry on, babe. Just go ahead.
It just depends on what you're emphasizing. Tom Brady is a better quarterback now than he's ever been. And that's because of his age. Because he's seen every defensive package. He's seen every trick that every defensive coordinator could throw at him. He knows exactly where all the players are going to be because he's gone through so many repetitions.
Yes.
And so he's just so much better now. So he can't, if you try to put him in a 40-yard dash with somebody, of course, his age is going to show. Every time he goes out there to run, his age shows. But he understands where he is as far as his age goes, and so he just works on his mind. And so if you're looking at a person's physical beauty or their physical capabilities, then yeah, I guess. But if you're looking at a person's mind and the accumulation, because I'm a mind person, so for me, I would never go back 10 years. I wouldn't even go back 5 years.
I wouldn't
because
go back a month.
I know so much more now than I did.
Yeah.
So if I could bring the knowledge that I have now back 10 years ago, I would. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
You can't gain, and of course in the ancient world, and it's particularly in the biblical world, getting to an age is what validated you. So Jesus is arguing with the Jews, and they're saying, you're not even 50 years old. You're not even 50 years old. You've seen Abraham. Okay, here we go. You're 33 years old, bro. What are you talking about? So it just depends culturally on what is being emphasized, what is being lost versus what is being gained with age. So, I understand. I understand what you were saying. Like, it makes sense to a degree, but I mean, for me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but even Tom Brady, because he's aging, recognizes that he needed to change his diet. Because Tom Brady wasn't eating like that X amount of years ago. Right. And then he had to adjust because his body humbled him. You are not a god. You have to take care of this.
No, every sports nutritionist will tell you have to eat a certain way. But what happened with Tom was, with age, he found Alex Guerrero. And Alex Guerrero gave him a sort of combination of Eastern medicine and Western medicine that he didn't get until a certain degree of time. So
would he have sought that out had he not have had aging happening?
But that's not my point. My point is every sports person knows what Tom knows. But the specific way in which he was able to get that wisdom came with age. He didn't get it when he was 20. He got it when he was 35. So my point is, if you're wise enough to take advantage of the time that you have to accumulate that knowledge and then apply that knowledge, then it works for you. But if Tom would have taken the regular paradigm of sports, he'd have been gone after his 4th Super Bowl.
Yes. Right.
But because it's like, oh, you've aged, or oh, you're this and you're that. So the entire conventional wisdom was like this doomsday sort of, hey, you hit 35, so you're finished. And so most people, 99% of the population is going to accept that because in the Western world, we worship youth. And so if you come from a paradigm where you don't worship youth, but you value experience over youth, then you're going to engage with aging differently. But because we're in sort of a and now you're in a Twitter generation where, it's 150 characters. People can't focus. So because of that lends to a youthful, and we sort of like, all of us cumulatively have regressed mentally because a lot of it has to do with social media. And people want to be in these spheres where they don't get challenged intellectually. So, these far right people, they all go to Parler and they all get together and they all get together in their nice little toxic echo chamber. And left wing people do it too. And like, nobody wants to be challenged. Nobody wants to engage their minds. Oh, just tell me what it is in 150. Okay.
Nobody.
Because we've kind of reverted back to childishness and like we've exalted childishness as like, even the rap now, you got songs that guys are like 2.5 minutes songs.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like you don't even have three verses of 16 bars. But again, that has to do with the Twitter generation. Like, so for me, I think to myself, damn, what am I gonna know in 10 years? Because now we've got nutrition and things like that. So the physical, the vehicle, you can have more maintenance so that you can maximize your joy if you can apply wisdom properly. So
I heard
to me,
somebody say
that's what I'm looking out for.
they were in their 40s or their 50s. I can't remember. And they were like, I just can't imagine if I had to go back to my 30s and redo my 30s. Holy shit. And when they said that, I was like, yo, I'm in my 30s. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. That was encouraging to hear because I have not heard a lot of people say that.
What?
That they wouldn't. I always thought that like your 30s was like your wisest years. And I feel like my 30s have been my most transformative years. And I look forward to, I don't look forward to like looking older. I'm not a fan of that at all. That still very much bothers me. But beyond the looks aspect of it, or like the fact that I do think like sometimes I feel like even like your aging body, like not being able to do the things you could do before. Although I wonder how much of that, because I'm looking at, you know, my family members, obviously, because that's my family tree. And I'm like, none of them were gym rats. And
yeah, if you eat like shit, you don't go to gym.
But none of my family ever ate like shit. That was never something. My family, they never ate like. Well, my mom eats a lot of sugar, but nobody got like obese or anything like that. Wait, is there somebody I'm not thinking about? I guess, yeah. I'm looking at the women. I'm thinking about the women and taking up the women's jeans. Anyway, the point being that none of them are like people that go out of their way to be healthy. So I'm like, you know, it doesn't have to be like that. You can make healthy choices and things can be a little bit different. But I do think like, wow, how much wisdom will I have? So this is so weird. So when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I used to think, man, I wish I had the wisdom of somebody who'd been through a lot of stuff, but I don't want to go through a lot of stuff. I don't want to go through a divorce. I don't want to go through, you know, all this. But I'll tell you what, the struggle that there has been, like with my whole life within my 30s, the struggle has been real. But the growth also that I look back on, I'm like, well, I've changed a lot. There's been a lot of things, and I have a lot more wisdom for people. Like when I'm around you, your intelligence level is so friggin' high that I forget, my memory's not as good as yours, not even close. And so it makes me feel like I'm at a certain place. Then I go out and I talk to like just regular people and I'm like, yo, I've learned a lot. I do have, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Because compared to other people, my memory is good. Just compared to yours, I'll tell you. I don't want to, you know, just make you an android because I do know you're a human being. But at the same time, your brain is very much like a sponge. It's a muscle.
Well, that's the other thing about aging in this context where we have all this information available to us. Like the things that we listen to in our leisure time is stuff that you would only hear in the university.
Right.
And
if you went away to one of those seminars
and those subscriptions I have. I mean, I've got subscriptions to, you know, JSTOR has articles from Harvard, Yale, all the rest. I mean, it's a paid subscription. You have to pay for it, but that's stuff that you'd only have access to if you were in the university. As a matter of fact, when I first joined JSTOR, they're like, what university are you from? And I had to, you know, do my little Vin thing to get even in this, to be able to pay for a subscription to that service.
No way.
Yeah. So like, and then the logos, the Bible, like, we have access to so much information where you can keep your mind razor sharp.
Yeah.
And then the more information you imbibe, especially information that you want to learn, the more it forces you to memorize. Mm-hmm. And so...
Well, yes.
So,
true.
Yeah, but, you know, people have access to all this information, and everybody's just... People talking about Karl Marx this, Karl Marx that. It's a Marxism. And I'm like, how much Marx have you read? Mm-hmm. All this shit is readily available to you. For free.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so, for me, it's like... The frustrating part for me is like, I don't have enough time... Even with the blessed insomnia, I don't have enough time to read all the books that I want to read. I got like 3 of them going right now. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's frustrating to me. But I also, you know when I'm not reading 3 books at a time, that my mind is not as sharp. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think, see, like you like to learn all the time. You're always in learn mode. And I'll be like, sometimes I just want to see the arts. Mm-hmm. Like like currently I'm watching that show Arrested Development. It's really I think it's a really dumb show, and there's so much about the show I don't like, but there's something about it that I'm just kind of like drawn to. I think I just like the pointlessness of it. I'm not really sure. I really don't know.
What show?
Arrested Development. Like I just put that on and just I don't even focus on the show completely. But
I'm not. So
like I don't feel like that you're the type of person that likes just like I feel like you're always in school. Like to me, I see that as school mode. You always want to be learning, and like I like to learn too, but not as much as you do. I don't want to be learning constantly. Sometimes I want to just like kick back and just watch something dumb. And you'll do that with me, but I don't ever like walk in and watch you. I don't ever walk in on you and you're watching something dumb. Like you're always on learning mode.
I mean, I watch sports.
Yeah, but I don't consider that dumb. Because that's like you're looking at the plays, the strategies, the team aspect of it. There's like a lot of stuff. I mean, that sports is boring to me personally. I like doing a live game, but
that stuff is entertaining to me. Like reading about super intelligence from that doctor entertains me. It's fascinating. It's because it opens up so many possibilities. I think a lot of learning for me is escapism because I get bored with the world as it is. So, looking at how, like, for example, in this chapter with this guy, Dr. Norman, he's talking about the half-life of information transfer. And in 5 years, it went from basically 1.4 tenths parts per million to literally 10 million parts per million. Like that's how we've compacted information. And so it's just incalculable to the point where people 100 years ago that's why like even conversations now between people saying Twitter and Facebook are banning free speech, when that's really not the debate. The debate is private companies and their ability to set their own terms and conditions. That's the debate. It's about private companies. It's not about free speech. Because the First Amendment was not about what private companies would allow you to do. The First Amendment was whether or not the government can swoop in and stifle your speech, particularly speech against the government.
Right.
That's what the Founding Fathers are concerned about.
Yeah.
They had no fucking clue about Facebook or Twitter.
Right. Well,
or
of course.
YouTube.
Right. No concept of
None
that at all. Right. Yeah.
Right. And so because of they couldn't even conceptualize it to articulate laws around it because of this the way that information half-life and the other side of it is half-life is because information gets outdated because there's so much information. So it's like when you're looking at a star, you're seeing it from 4 years back or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So when you actually pick up an article to read it, the likelihood that article is still true or still true exactly the way it's presented is highly suspect because we have so much more information. It's just that you need to get to it. And so reading that book, it's like, oh, so like with this whole COVID situation or whatever, you got Malone over here, you got McCullough over here, you got mainstream scientists over here. What's going on is that this is an evolving situation.
Right.
And what people don't realize is because information is so ubiquitous now, if a person comes to you 6 months ago and says X, they were telling the truth. But now they've got more information. So now what happens is people look back and go, those people don't know what they're talking about. Or they spin a conspiracy theory. And then they say, oh, no, everybody's wrong.
Yeah, that's not fair. That's true. That's not fair.
Correct.
But you stay quiet on topics. See, this is what I'm saying.
Quiet on that
you
stuff.
stay quiet on topics that you're not like, okay, I know yet. And there'll be stuff where I'm like, Vin, you say something about that. He'll be like, no, I'm not. I gotta learn more. And then all of a sudden the information will pop off and turn the whole thing the complete other way. I'm like, that was wise.
Yeah. So, it's just one of those things where...
Metal Mark, if you have a problem with it, go somewhere else.
Well, finally, I've been defended. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, so you can keep your mind actually very, very sharp. So for me, I look at aging as, by the time I'm X or whatever, I'll have read all these books and I've been able to absorb it or whatever. Or I'll have read it 3 or 4 times and I've been able to absorb it a lot more. So I'll know a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but anytime you read a book, especially by these like high level scientists, you have to read 5 other books to understand where they're coming from.
I just thought of something.
Right? So age gets you that.
So Vinny showed me this thing before I went to sleep, and it was basically about like the characters in your dreams are basically just parts of yourself, right?
Right.
But then it seemed like it could be both. Like one was it's parts of yourself, and so you interact with yourself in there. But then like these characters are not as complex as people are in real life. Like they can do addition but not division, or like multiplication or something like that. Something weird like that. So anyway, he plays this before I go to sleep, and it's like for lucid dreamers and stuff. So in my dream, and I'm like talking to this character, because now I got that information. So now I can't wait to fall asleep. I think that's probably what's adding into me falling asleep so soon. Is because I want to go in there and talk to these people. So anyway, I was in there, and the character said, "This is take with it what you will," but the character said, "No, those people are right. What happens is this life is a training ground for the next, and everything that you learn here is completely imperative that you know for the next." And he said that there's so many people that are in this life that refuse to learn, and they're just floating through life in like basically like in like a depression slump, and they're not going to be prepared at all. And then some of those people decide to end their own life, and they push themselves more rapidly into the next world that they are not ready for.
Whoa. That shit is deep, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. I was like, talk to me more. But wait, myself. What is this?
That's a lot of wisdom. That's a lot of wisdom. And the other thing is, all the fables of man must end in triumph. So a fable is kind of a made up story, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that's a concept of there's an afterlife or a good afterlife, a good future for you, all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. Right? So a fable is a fictional story, but so is a horror story.
Yeah.
A horror story is also fictional. Mm-hmm. So why don't we attack the horror story? Why is the good fable always attacked? Not recognizing, well, the horror story is also fiction. So that's what I'm saying. It's like I think a lot of people's unbelief is not rooted in I don't have enough evidence. Like the more and more I talk to people, the less and less I believe that evidentialism is the problem.
Yeah.
It's just, but how do we know that a lot of unbelief isn't just plain cynicism, where you've been disappointed so many times in life and you've gone through life in so much pain that you're not even going to allow yourself to believe that there could be a good future or a good afterlife where you would meet up again with people that you've created these indescribable bonds with. So you don't even want to believe that. So you're going to go to a horror story which says once that person's gone, you'll never see them again, which is horror.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Why don't people say, well, horror is also fiction? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because there are aspects of this life where something really amazing does happen. Meeting. Do you realize how massively crazy it is to have a friend? Mm-hmm. Like, here is a person that's loyal to you, loves you, and has no legal or familial obligations to. Yeah. Like, your wife, there's a legal aspect to it. Mm-hmm. Your kids, there's a genetic familial aspect to it. But a friend is a stranger who has none of those, who will commit themselves to you oftentimes more than your own flesh and blood. Mm-hmm. That is amazing. And I suppose if you lived in some other alternate universe where there were no friends, and you told people, no, there's another category of relationship where people will pledge their lives to you, give their lives for you, et cetera, let you sleep in their house, take half their money and give to you, all things I've experienced and we've been a part of. And they have no legal or genetic, they say that's ridiculous, that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But friendships, but it's amazing. Like, we have all these crazy markers that, existence actually has some really, really cool aspects to it. Mm-hmm. But when it's time to die, I think a lot of times people are so hurt by being on this planet and being affected by a sinful world that they say they believe the horror story and then they fictionalize the good story. And so, like, that was the other thing. I was like, okay, I mean,
if you think about it, like if you go with the biblical story, that there's great evil and that there's sin and all that stuff, but that there also is immeasurable grace. So it's the glass half empty, half full thing.
Right.
Are you going to look at, because like I said to you before, of course, we're going to dig more into that conversation later, but you know, if somebody does something, like you can almost always find some bad motive for why they did what they did. But you could also find a good motive if you're looking for it too. And I think that some things, you know, there are probably some things that are just evenly clear right across the board. Like that is just straight evil.
Right.
And then that's just very, very good. And it's going to be very difficult to find the bad in that. But there's a lot of stuff kind of in between that we decide how we're going to look at that situation. And, you know, like, for me, like my miscarriage is always connected to the fact that I've been able to help people because of that. I will not look at the fact that I had a miscarriage without also seeing the fact that I've been able to help people, because I know if I look at only the miscarriage without knowing that there was good that came from it, then it's soul crushing, and it's very, very difficult to, you know, I count the kids and I think, ooh, there'd be one more. Ugh. And that's very, very hard. But every time I think about it, that's what I do. I connect it to that and I say, I was a much more gracious person to other people because I understood the depth of pain that comes from losing a child within your womb. So, you know, I can see that there was good that came from that. And I think that a lot of situations are like that. There's always, you know, you've had a lot of painful situations and you've also been able to help a lot of people. And you've seen things in your life that there are people that lived and died and never saw.
Yeah.
And you've seen those things multiple times.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But even the wisdom about your miscarriage happened with age and experience.
Yeah, because it was a concept for me at the beginning.
Right.
I said it from the second that it happened. Every time I talk to somebody,
God's got a plan.
God's going to bring good out of it.
It wasn't all bullshit.
It wasn't all bullshit. It was something that I hoped for.
Right.
But I wasn't sure. I guess I was kind of, but kind of not, and I didn't see it. But actually living it out and actually being, you know, like in the streams and stuff. And there's been people that I've been able to talk to here and elsewhere and stuff. And you don't have to experience every pain there is to experience to know what pain feels like. And so when someone else is experiencing pain and you can say, oh, I experienced loss as well, then you're able to sympathize with people more and give more grace to people, you know.
It also made you a much more accessible person. You were inaccessible.
Yeah.
As a human being to other human beings prior to that.
Yeah.
But there's something that kind of opened that gateway.
Yeah.
As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good to bring about that many people should be kept alive as they are to this day.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Doctrine of Concurrence. I love this song. What'd you give it?
Oh, 10.
I give it a 10 as well, dear listener.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really like the song.
And so we age.
It was sugary, but it led to a deep-ass conversation. So did that 14-minute song that you didn't like that much, but it also led to a pretty deep conversation.
Yeah. And shout out to that.
Shout out to that. Again, the redneck barbarians, redneck Vikings from hell, like all these songs we would have never gotten if it was not for
the
DJ Mike,
stream.
Middle Earth, Northern Scoundrel. Amy gave it a 10 within the first 5 seconds. Like,
oh, nice.
But this is why we do it. And like, don't worry if you know you do a stream or you do a standalone song and it's not a competition per se, but definitely love this combination, this collusion. We've got more stuff on the way for you guys pretty much every day, I think. We got a little gap around the 20th or whatever.
Yeah, we have a little gap there.
But yeah. So there you go. We are most likely going to have an Insomnia stream probably around 3:30 or something like that. Maybe we shall see.
Also, my birthday's coming up. So on the 28th of January, we probably won't be streaming.
I'm so happy you were born.
All right. You guys, thanks for tuning in with us.
All right. And the 22nd is Pony's birthday. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Big shout outs to our DJs tonight. I love these collusion streams, whatever you call them.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you feel the vibe change.
Yeah.
With each DJ.
It's a completely different feeling for show,
within the DJ stream.
Boop, boop, boop.
I know, Pony. We're almost twins with our birthday.
Okay,
pause for 2 seconds. You know what, Pony? This is one of the dreams I have. So eventually, when our second business takes off and we actually have like more leisure time, I've had this. Okay, I want to have an iPad. Babe, listen, because you're gonna have to make this dream get fulfilled. I want an iPad that I can do that drawing and stuff that you do, and then I want to get on like a live video with you, and we both like just work on art and just chat, and you can give me tips, and we can just. I think that would be so fun, and I'd love to see the things that you do and learn to do that, and just so keep that in mind. I'll need one of those when we get time to relax. All right, you guys, thank you so much for the DJ stream. Happy birthday to everyone born in January, the best month of the year. Anyway, yes, Pony, yay, I'm so glad.
It never occurred to you to tell me to get a gift? No, it did not.
And you all the gift.
You all the gift. It's a docked. Middle Earth, thank you very much for having the stream, buddy. What'd you say? He doesn't look like a hobbit. I thought he was going to look like a hobbit.
He doesn't look... you looked much taller than a hobbit.
You guys got in a video chat to set this one up, right?
Yeah, we did, because I was all confused.
Shout out to Northern
I was like,
Scoundrel.
what the frig is going
Shout
on?
out to DJ Mike. I love all you Muslims. All right, we out of here. Vin,
Sorry,
that's an at-home thing. It's an at-home thing. They've crossed the line. I love all you Muslims.
Oh, yep, that's true. I didn't even hear you say it. You let that out. Shh. The neighbors will hear.
They'd be happy. All right, guys. See you guys for the Insomnia stream tonight. Maybe. Vin out!
Sorry.